What the heck are you drawing? Oh my god, are you drawing another thick flower? Look, I think it's about time you leave me alone because this just happens to be my style. So the word style is thrown around a lot in the artist community, but what exactly does style mean? Let's break that down with a boring definition really quick here. Okay, a little bit long, but I'll read it. Style is basically the manner in which the artist portrays his or her subject matter and how the artist expresses his or her vision. Style is determined by the characteristics that describe the artwork, such as the way the artist employs form, color, and composition, to name just a few. Really trying to show that style is not just one thing and cannot really be covered all in one video. Alright, back to the lesson. That's a pretty vague definition because that essentially just means anything, and that's what style really is. Style can refer to the specific type of art that you make. So making abstract art, cubism, art nouveau, pop art, impressionism, surrealism, and the list goes on. Really, it can be anything. So if any of what I just showed really interests you, that might be something that sparks a style in you. You might want to work in that style. But what are some ways that we can find our own style if we don't really know what it is yet? So here's some ideas of how artists find style. Now what I'm going to focus on today is numero uno right here. We're going to talk about copying artists you like, but a bunch of them. Now I want to be clear, this is not tracing, it's not copyright, we're not taking their art, we are looking at them as inspiration and we're going to pull from that what we like. Let's look at some artists. So I made a couple collages of images from artists that I really admire and I really like their style and shape language. To me, finding style is finding things that you've already seen in this world and pulling what you really like from them. So I look at these pieces and I try to analyze what about each one of these artists' artwork am I really drawn to? What is really sticking out to me? And I also want to think about what don't I like as well, because I'm trying to develop a style that I'm fully invested in. So if you guys can't tell, I'm kind of into the pinup style, the retro style, and that's really what draws my interest. So when it comes to style, I'm kind of thinking about how people translate the human body into really interesting and dynamic shapes, and that's something that I want to draw from. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a method of finding style using inspiration from those you admire. Now I really want to be clear, I said a method. That does not mean that this is the only method, this is just one of many. So I'm going to make this pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to grab an artist, look at that name, and then we're going to go in and we're going to grab some images that really stand out to us from their portfolio. From here, you're going to go to your favorite free stock image website, grab a picture of something, move it out of the way because we didn't plan to do that, and essentially you're going to be drawing this using the style that you are seeing all around you and trying to imitate the things that you like. Now, I can talk forever and I can keep drawing arrows all over the place, but I recorded a process of me drawing a couple of these, so let's look at those and I'll talk over that. So before I start the drawing, I just want to say that when I started this process, what I did was I took some time to really analyze what I'm looking at, understand the shapes, and figure out what I'm interested about it, and then now I'm going to start to translate that back into my own art language. So let's get started on this. Alright, so Shane Glines, if you guys do not know, personally he's one of my all-time favorite artists. I first found him by seeing his book S-Curves when I was at Comic-Con one year, looked at it, bought it almost instantly. He, for me, has a lot of Bruce Timm in him. I don't know which direction that goes, who's inspired by who. I know that they have worked together in animation projects. That's besides the point. I'm gonna add descriptions and Instagrams or YouTubes or whatever they have in the description below if you guys want to check out any of these artists, and I highly suggest you do if you do like them. But what this guy is good at, as being someone that's in the animation field, is keeping things simple and readable, but really attractive to the eye. And I don't just mean that because obviously he draws pinups, but I just mean in terms of shape language, you have something that is really appealing to the eye. It's soft, it's elegant, it just kind of like ignores anatomy where it needs to, but then kind of comes back to reality in certain parts as well. So these were the things that I was trying to play up. if you guys are familiar with any of my videos, you know I talk about being over detailed a lot. It's something that I struggle with. So again, I was taking this exercise that I am giving to thee, and I was using it for myself as well. And so I'm practicing more from the bottom left of his kind of like retro personal style, and less from his like more what you'd expect to see like in an animated cartoon or something, which is like the top left. So kind of wanted that really round shaped head, the little lips, little tiny nose, all that stuff. Except that I don't really let myself draw all too much when I'm drawing for myself personally, or from imagination, or even if I'm drawing gesture drawing or something. So again, I really want to push this because this is something that I do want to kind of push my style towards. I really, really like this shape language. I like this direction, and I want to understand it more. Like, why does it work so well? And that's really what I'm trying to understand here too. Like, how does this little neck work? How does the head work? How big should the head be in compared to the body, the eyes, all this stuff? Am I worrying about halfway lines? Am I worrying about this or that? And essentially what you can see is that you really just have to exaggerate and let yourself go. So if you guys haven't, you can check out my gesture drawing video. Essentially what we're getting is a lot of that gesture experience up front here. Now when you're doing this, feel free to change the pose, by the way. Again, everything is just a suggestion here. The art style that I'm following and the picture are suggestions here, and I can change them how I want, and you can see that I definitely have changed some things. Because I was trying to follow, again, that pin-up style of his. Now, when it came to placement of some of these things, you know, I was kind of placing them in and then erasing and seeing how they work. Some of these things I don't like, and so I take out. One thing I do want to recommend, now that I am kind of going on to the finishing process of this, is you don't really want to take this exercise to the extreme. I sped these up, but the maximum time that I spent on this is 15 minutes. I really wouldn't recommend doing more than like 30 minutes or so. Maybe up to an hour if you're going to do color and the person you're influenced by has some really detailed color work. But again, the point is to kind of like learn and add your own thing in here. And one of the things that you'll notice is that when you kind of force yourself to pick things out quickly, you're going to be less biased about what you choose, and you're going to be less on top of yourself about the details. So allow yourself to really just kind of let go and let your subconscious kind of find the things that you're drawn to and place them in there. So with this, I noticed his body shape, obviously, like, it's exaggerated beyond Disney, invisible waist kind of a thing. But I added my own kind of interpretation in there a little bit, with a little bit of that belly, just because that is something that I'm interested in. Now you can see that I did experiment with adding the arm. I thought it looked okay. I thought maybe if I added it holding the hat, it would look good. I was just kind of experimenting with the placement, but I really didn't like it at the end of the day. So I just kind of left it there. I think I left that floating hand there. But you know, you just kind of have to experiment and see how these poses work, and be thinking that these are all about shape language and design. At the end of the day, I don't think having that arm pop out from her chest is a good design. My personal opinion. All right, next we are jumping to Pernille. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but you guys can see it up there. If I'm butchering it, I sincerely apologize. But anyways, if you guys don't know her work, really you should check her out in the links below that I'm gonna tag, because she just does some amazing, like, simplistic but at the same time so expressive, so detailed in its own right. And it's just beautiful in my opinion. So like, it's just, you can see it's simplistic, but it says a lot, and I really like that, and that's something that I'm trying to understand and put into my own work, like I said. Now, I don't know if this is needed for me to say, but at this point I do want to say that if these are not something that you're interested in, you don't have to do these. I don't know if someone's out there forcing themselves to do this, but again, this is something that I draw from. This is something that I am very, very interested in and want to move my style towards. And it's because I'm interested in animation, storyboarding, and shape language, and getting better at all that stuff. That might not be your goal. You could be watching this video right now and you could be someone that's really into abstract or any of the other things I showed, or painting. And you're watching this like, this is not my jam. What I want you guys to understand is that you can take this and apply it to anything. If there is an abstract artist you like, find some of their work and do a small painting copying what they created. Stand back from it and try to figure out, why does it work? Why does it speak to you? And the same can apply to any other style, method, art movement, whatever you're interested in creating. I just highly recommend that you guys put this to process. For me, I'm an illustrator. I love drawing the figure. So here we are. All right, so one thing that I'm noticing with her style when I did my analysis kind of thing is, yes, it's simplistic, but comparatively to what we just saw, I would say it's more realistic, right? I'm not saying it's a realistic style, but I'm saying comparatively more to Shane Glines' style. We have a little bit more realism here. What I like about Pernille is that she doesn't just go with the stereotypical kind of like, it's a cutesy girl, therefore everything is going to be round. She does play with round elements, but I like that hard kind of pointed shoulder shape she plays with, and like the straight lines on some of the arms, really like solid tapering shapes as well. And she'll play up, you know, like the cartoony kind of small waist and stuff, but you guys can see that she also like adds in there some skin folds and stuff. So there's like this element of like realism mixed with that more stylized cartoony thing. And that's definitely something that I feel like I could be interested in, because it's kind of that in between from Shane Glines' retro round bobblehead figures to realism. This is somewhere like in the middle, and that's definitely somewhere that I can see myself. Now with this too, I was definitely playing around. So here you can see I threw in those eyes, and I was kind of copying her like happy eyes. But when I look back at the pose that I'm copying, I don't think she really had that expression, right? For being honest, she looks a little pissed off. I don't know what happened earlier before this picture. But so I kind of wanted to have a little bit of that element of emotion in my picture, and still see if I could incorporate some of Pernille's style within that, right? So making the eyes bigger, thinking about how she uses the darkness of like the eyelashes to kind of emphasize the eyes and all that stuff, and just making it work for the pose that I'm drawing. Really like her lip shape from the top right picture there with the redhead. So I copied that straight into mine just to kind of understand that shape. I think it's a really nice shape. And if you do know her work, you do see that lip shape a lot. She has called herself out on it too. But it's a good shape. What can I say? I did struggle with the nose a little bit. She does kind of do like these little indications of the nose, but it's not quite like a round button nose like you might see in Disney. It does have some like nostril kind of figuring out to it. So struggled there a little bit, but I think I found a happy medium. Now, one of the greatest things about her work too is that her hair is a shape and like language in itself, and it really does add to the picture. It adds to the negative space, and it adds to the silhouette, and that's something you want to be considering here as a framing element. So I have a really nice solid side standing looking back view, and one of the things I can do to really emphasize that head shape that I created, that like brow curve coming into the cheek and down to the chin, is to have a nice hair shape silhouetted against that. Of course, continuing that over to the side. All right, jumping straight to the next one here. Didn't catch myself on the time there. So this is Phil. I'm not even going to try to say that last name. I mean, it looks simple, but I feel like I'm going to butcher it. He goes by Phil Tomato on all of his other socials that I know of. He also has a YouTube channel, so if you guys haven't, I would check that out. He talks about style in one of his videos too. So you know, on topic. One of the things I love about Phil is that his stuff is super gestural, and it's just about making it look good. There's like no care for if the anatomy is accurate or anything like that, or the proportions or relative size of like one limb to the other, in terms of like, you know, he has very thick legs and like really skinny arms, or whatever's going on in his picture. And he talks about this in one of his videos, and he says that you know, as artists, we are here to make reality more interesting, make it better. And I really like that definition. It was like, you know, why hyper focus on something and get frustrated with it when you can really just have fun with the overall design? Like, how far can I push this design and change it into like something that's like super fun and really just kind of like elegant to the eyes, nice swooping like curves and S curves, things that like maybe you don't even think about, but they're super attractive to the eye. Like, the eye loves these like relaxing curved lines that stay connected the whole way through. When you have all these little bumps and scratches, it's like these breaking points for your mind, and it kind of abrupts from the picture a little bit. So I really kind of experimented with that, and I let myself just have like this nice flowy form, kind of like that top left picture there, with like the body pose where she's like really pushing out her hip section and like really kind of leaning back. And then I really like how he handled the shoulders there as well, with the chest coming in front. Again, you guys can see that I'm not going like as exaggerated with the waist as some of these other artists have done. It's not something that super appeals to me, that like, you know, invisible waist kind of a thing. I like to have a resemblance of some waist when I'm drawing like pinup styles like this, but that's just me. That's my personal taste. So you guys kind of have to find your own personal taste as well. So again, with Phil, I'm really focusing on shapes, adding dynamicness to it, because like his whole thing is expression. Like, and I'm not just talking about facial expression, because the body language comes together with that expression. So I even started off this picture with like that kind of like a crooked, like, I don't know, like sassy mouth look, where like, you know, you're lifting one side of your lip, kind of disgusted, or like a scowl or something like that. And then of course, just to play with his idea of, I mean, there's so many pictures of his where the character is like pulling on their clothes or holding their clothes or something. So I had her pulling her bikini bottom up, just to kind of poke fun at his style here. Overall though, I have to say that this was probably like the most fun I had out of all three. I feel like I really learned something from this, because I just went so huge with those legs comparatively to the body. And I don't know, like maybe you guys don't like it, but to me, the shape language just kind of works and it's fun. And I'm really happy with the fact that it came out like that. And I wasn't like upset with myself over minor anatomy details or something. So that was a big win for me. But again, you guys got to kind of find, you know, the things that you're trying to work on and whatnot. So another thing Phil does in a lot of his art is he has the eyes closed on the figure. So I kind of played with that idea as well. Phil, if you see this video, I swear I'm not making fun of you. I might be poking a little bit. I might be poking a little fun at you, but just because I love it. But anyways, these were some of the elements that I really picked out. Now with hair, I kind of went on my own here. Again, I was just kind of went for an interesting shape. I didn't want to go for any like crazy hairstyles, so I kind of stayed true to her hairstyle. Felt like it really framed it. I noticed his heads tend to be a little bit bigger than I made, but I started to really like the proportion of the small head on the body that I made, so we left it. I thought it was a cool framing device. All of these I would totally go back and add a little more detail to, or just kind of add my own spin again to them. So again, guys, I really recommend you try this practice if you haven't yet. It's such a great way to learn some new skills and to learn some new shapes. As a closer to this video, I just want to recap on the idea that I'm not saying to find one artist and copy their style and make it slightly unique. What I'm really saying is to take a couple styles, add all the things that you would like about them, and come up with something that is unique to you, but also speaks to the things that you like. Overall, just don't be afraid to try new things and to practice from other people's styles and learn why you like that style. Make it your own, have fun, and understand that style is something that constantly evolves over time, so be open to change. Alright guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Just please do me a favor and remember that style is something that will always be changing as your interests change, and don't be so hard on yourself about finding a style. I definitely was in the beginning of my career, and it's something that you just kind of constantly keep building and changing with, so allow yourself to have that fun and really enjoy the process. If you guys like this video, please let me know. I want to hear your suggestions for some future videos so I can help you guys out. I got one for anatomy, so we're going to make that happen. I promise. It's coming eventually. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.